Please allow me to introduce you to the International Classification of Diseases 10th Revision Procedure Coding System, more often referred to as ICD-10-PCS. PCS, as I just said, stands for Procedure Coding System. This code set is reported by hospitals to identify procedures and services provided to someone who has been admitted into the hospital, and inpatient only. For those of you who know about what came before, this code set replaces ICD-9-CM Volume 3. ICD-10-PCS codes must have 7 characters. They can be numbers 0 through 9, or they can be all the different letters of the alphabet except the letter O as in Oscar and the letter I as in ices. Okay, and they did that on purpose so the letters O don't get confused with the number 0, and the letter I does not get confused with the number 1. The ICD-10-PCS book is divided into 2 primary sections. The Alphabetic Index, which you may be familiar with from learning about the Alphabetic Index in ICD-10-CM, or the Alphabetic Index in CPT, same thing. And the tables section, which is very, very different from all of the other code sets. So first, the index is sorted by root operation term. And this is the specific type of procedure that is the basis for what's going on and being provided to the patient. So it might be a bypass, it might be an excision, it might be an insertion, it might be a transplant. The body system is the next qualifier under the root operation term in the alphabetic index. So that is what is known as a sub-entry. So it's going to identify the digestive system, the musculoskeletal system. And then after that, the next line is going to identify a specific anatomical site. So a body part, such as an arm or a leg or a hand or a foot, or it could be a common term for a specific procedure, such as a hysterectomy. The table section, this is the part that is very, very different than any of the other code books. The table section is in numerical order by the first character of the code. And so it starts with the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way through 9, and then the letters of the alphabet, starting with the letter B as in boy. Why there are no A's, I don't know. They didn't invite me to the meeting. The table section is set up in, oddly enough, tables. Oh, that was a clever name, right? Okay, this is what it looks like in your code book table section. And what you're going to do is you are going to build the code using this table. Remember, unlike ICD-10-CM, where the codes may be anywhere from 3 to 7 characters, all ICD-10-PCS codes must have all 7 characters in the code. And as I said, you're going to build it from the table. And the placement of each character in each of the 7 positions explains something specific and very different. So the first character of the code is always going to identify the section of the ICD-10-PCS book from where this code will be built. So it might be medical and surgical, which is section 0. All of the medical and surgical codes begin with a 0. All of the obstetrics codes having to do with obstetrics, section 1. And just as a little hint, obstetrics is only obstetrics, only pregnant ladies, not gynecology. And then the imaging section, as an example, is section B. So all of the imaging codes will start with the letter B as in boy. Now the tabular grid, as I showed you, each section of the list shows a grid which specifies the meaning of each character in the code. And you can only choose from the options on that specific table. So the medical surgical section, each of the 7 characters are going to mean these items. The first character is going to mean this section of the book. The second character is going to identify the body system. The third character is going to identify root operation term. The fourth character, the specific body part, or anatomical site. The fifth character, the approach that the physician used. The sixth character, the device, if applicable. And the seventh character is a qualifier. That's like a wild card that's going to identify all different things. Now, you may be saying, well, what? And don't worry, because the book will tell you. Measurement and monitoring section, you can see that the 7 characters that make up a code from the measurement and monitoring section explain some similar things, but other things too. Like, yes, the first character always identifies the section of the book. But in this case, the second character is going to identify the physiological system. Yes, the third character is going to identify the root operation term, but in this case, the fourth character is going to identify the body system. You may remember, unlike the medical and surgical section, the fourth character identifies the body part, the specific anatomical site. In this section, the fourth character identifies the body system. Fifth character, the approach, that's the same as med-surg. The sixth character, the function or the device, a little different. And the seventh character is the wild card, the qualifier. And again, the table will tell you what information you need to go look from the documentation by the options they give you. And another example of how they change from section to section, here is in the imaging section. Yes, it's the same. The first character identifies the section of the book. That's everywhere. The second section, similar to medical and surgical, will identify the body system. But the third section, not root operation term like we saw in the med-surg. In this case, it's the root type. Then fourth, body part, that's familiar. And then fifth is contrast. Was contrast material used with the imaging? You may remember when you studied CPT coding that sometimes contrast material is used with an MRI. Okay, and then here both the sixth and the seventh characters are wildcards. And again, you will see clearly on the table what information you need to go back and get from the documentation. Placeholders are very important, and again, they will be given to you on the table, so it's not something you really need to understand, but the letter Z is used on a table for a character for one of the parts of the code when at this moment in time there is no detail that we need to explain. It's like a not applicable at this time. Then you may say, well, why bother? And that is because it is there to save the space for future growth of the code system. So that way it's longer before you have to learn a whole nother code system. Okay, if you have any questions, you know others do, so please ask your instructor. Don't be shy. Remember, if you don't understand, how can you do a good job determining the codes? You can't.